City News is brought to you by East Brewster Lawyers, Rotorua, celebrating 100 years of legal excellence and innovation.
Good evening, Rotorua. Tonight on City News, Mayor Steve Chadwick says the independent review of Rotorua District Council financial disclosures isn't a witch hunt. Locals and organisers of this year's Lakeside are preparing for a knockout show tomorrow night. And 10 Bay of Plenty rugby players have been announced in the Chiefs Development Squad. Rotorua Mayor Steve Chadwick says the independent review of the Rotorua District Council financial disclosures isn't a witch hunt, but ensuring that financial disclosures made to elected members are robust. Mrs Chadwick says councillors have made some tough decisions in recent weeks to help fund the $3.3 million shortfall in this year's budget.
We need to remember we've got a new chief executive. We've got a new financial officer. So calling for heads to roll is rather silly. So we're in a new generation now, and we're building a new generation of trust in council officers. And by doing that, it means a lot more work for myself and the chief executive. They're working very hard. I have to say they're enjoying my energy, you might put it. Yes. But we're working together to find the solutions.
And we'll have the full interview with Mayor Chadwick in Monday night's program. Emergency services were called to the central city at lunchtime yesterday after a parking warden found a man collapsed in his parked car on Tutanekai Street. Local police says the warden and passerby, an off-duty nurse, dragged him from his car and attempted to resuscitate him. However, they were unsuccessful. It's believed the man was a visitor to Rotorua. Locals and organisers of this year's Lakeside are preparing for a knockout show tomorrow night. The annual Lakeside concert returns for its 18th year on Saturday with the catchphrase, "The Bald, the Blind and the Beautiful," which are represented by Kiwi music icons Frankie Stevens, Eddie Lowe and John Rolls.
Lakeside has a proud tradition of being able to make it a family occasion, so obviously that is its appeal. A huge variety, concerts of spectacular proportions. So that's well known, but come prepared for the weather, look after each other. Roads have to be closed, and all of those are there put in place to ensure that people really enjoy the experience.
In sport tonight, 10 Bay of Plenty rugby players have been announced in the Chiefs Development Squad and program for the 2014 season. Players have been selected for the program from Counties Manukau, Waikato, Bay of Plenty, and for the first time from the Chiefs' new provincial union, Taranaki. The development campaign involves skills training with the Chiefs coaches and 6 matches against the Blues and Hurricanes development teams and the New Zealand under-20 team, which will be part of their build-up to the Junior Rugby World Cup in Auckland later in the year. To your weather now, and the forecast tonight is some drizzle with northeast winds and an overnight low of 14. Still to come in tonight's program, Jane Richard has news about next week's funding expo. Kitty talks with John Lund about the potential of geothermal energy, and we cover last week's Chiefs pre-season warm-up against the Blues.
Everybody, well, I'm outside on Haupapa Street in the beautiful little park. We're across the road from Community House, where a very special woman has dedicated 11 years of her life to being the manager of the Citizens Advice Bureau. Jane Richards, it's such a pleasure to be with you. Kia ora.
Kia ora.
So tell me, why 11 years?
Oh, because it's such a neat place. You just learn something new every day. You're with people all the time. no 2 day is ever the same, and they're just such wonderful volunteers, and the clients that come in, I mean, you're helping people all the time, so it's just wonderful.
So very satisfying, and you've got 70 or so volunteers, so that's a big team.
A big commitment, and they all are as enthusiastic about the place as I am, so that's great.
And it's information sharing, isn't it, and empowering that you're doing.
Yep.
And there's a few very empowering workshops coming up that you're going to be sharing with the community, which are free.
Including lunch.
Yeah, including lunch, so the whole town, come on down. So please, can you tell me what they are?
Well, it's the 2014 Funding Expo, which is on next Tuesday, the 25th of Feb, over in the Convention Centre. And it's a funding expo that's been put on by a collaboration of groups. There's the Rotorua Trust, the District Council, Sport Bay of Plenty, the Bay Trust, Internal Affairs, and ourselves,
Our
the Bureau.
long list to remember. Well done.
And we're all working together to bring you the Funding Expo and Thinking and Working Smarter for 2014.
So that's the theme of it, thinking and working smarter. And who doesn't want to do that? Because it's time management, and saving time is saving money.
That's right.
Isn't
And
it?
when we're talking about not-for-profit groups, with sports groups, arts and cultural health, you know, everything that's in community house, Marais, you know, you name it. But if you're not earning money or you don't have a regular income, they should be at this.
Wonderful, and it's going to empower them because you've got experts in the field coming along to share their knowledge, isn't it?
That's right. In the past we've had funding expos and we've had panels of speakers from the different funding agencies that are around. We've still got those, but on top of that we're having a series of workshops that people can select which one they want to attend or two. And they're covering things like administration and running meetings, social enterprise and how that relates to not-for-profit organisations, organisations that might be employing staff, how to handle human resource issues.
And that's a tricky one in not-for-profit organisations, because you may be working with a couple of staff, but then you're asking for people's voluntary time.
Yes, that's right.
And
so it can be tricky. And then in the afternoon there's the Charity Services, which used to be the Charities Commission. They're going to show everyone about their new tools on their website. Then we've got using evaluation in your funding applications, and then a fantastic one about from Shine, which is a PR organisation, how to use social networking and the likes of Facebook to promote your not-for-profit. And then, of course, the opening speaker, Kerry Tilbury. I don't know if you've ever heard anything she's done, but she's just wonderful with ideas for how to improve your not-for-profit organisation and make the best of it.
So where did the impetus for this come from?
Well, this is about the 4th or 5th that we've been involved in over the last 10 or so years, and it's just in response to a need in the community. You know, things are really tightening up with funding, as you're probably aware, and there's lots of not-for-profits that sort of have to go from hand to mouth and run by the smell of an oily rag, all those little cliches. And so the group of organisations thought this would be a really useful way to make these people aware of what's out there for them.
Absolutely. Now tell me a little bit more about what's happening in general at the Citizens Advice Bureau. Have you got any other interesting news or projects coming up in the future?
We find that we're always having to react to what's happening in the society, so the most recent new thing we're doing is writing CVs for people. These are for people who really have very little or no computer skills or no access to a computer, but they have to have a CV in order to get their job seeker support grant and to continue their benefits and stuff, so that they're able to come down to the Bureau and twice a week, it's by appointment, and they'll get a simple but effective CV written for them. We've got the Justice of the Peace clinics are absolutely booming now, thanks to the support of the local Justices of the Peace. There's several around Rotorua, but we have two, one on a Monday and a Wednesday between 12 and 1:30 at the Bureau, and we have 16 to 20 people lining up for those, which is great. And then we've got all our other usual things like free legal appointments, migrant support clinics, and our beneficiary advocates, as well as all the other information that you can find in there.
And so how can people register?
For the expo, they can pick up an application form from the Bureau or from the library, or go to the Council Service Centre and fill it in, and they need to be in by the end of this week, or the weekend will be fine, so that we've got numbers for the lunch.
And the date again?
Tuesday the 25th of Feb, 9 till 2:30 at the Convention Centre.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks very much.
Kia ora everybody. Well, we have a very special interview with you now, and one that is very, very important to our community here in Rotorua, important to the Māori community and our many taonga, our geothermal taonga that we have in this place. His name is Dr. John Lund. He's from Oregon in the United States, and he is an expert on geothermal energy. Kia ora, Dr. Lund.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate. I always love coming to Rotorua and New Zealand.
It is a beautiful place, isn't it?
People are friendly. People are friendly. I like that. And Klamath Falls, where I'm from, is sister city to Rotorua.
Well, then we're brother and sister then, aren't we, really?
Well, we have geothermal just like you do here. Yeah, ours is not as hot as the Rotorua, but we have 600 geothermal wells. I have a well in my own front yard that heats my house, my hot water, my hot tub, and the neighbor's house. And it's 120 meters deep, and it's 90 degrees Celsius.
So you know the benefits of being able to soak in a hot tub straight from the earth.
Yes. In fact, yes. We went across Rotorua Iki.
Yes, Rotorua.
Yeah, and soaked in the hot.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
How wonderful.
No, and I teach at a campus that's heated geothermally, and I shop in a town that's heated geothermally.
Wow.
And my son went to geothermally heated schools.
So you must come to Rotorua and see a lot of potential.
Tremendous potential here. It's underutilized, but you of course have to be careful, because if you overutilize it, you'll damage the resource. But there's still tremendous potential. One of the ways is what we call cascading. You can take the effluent from a power plant and use it, say, to heat buildings, then use the effluent from the buildings to heat greenhouses and aquaculture ponds before you put it back in the ground. So you can maximize the use of the resource, which I don't think is being done here. But it certainly means you have high temperature. Yeah, there are chemistry problems and so forth. But you could do a lot more with it. And this community could become a real tourist attraction.
And that's what this meeting that we're actually here for, this hui, or this gathering, is about, utilising that to the very best of our ability. What are some of your suggestions?
Well, a water theme park with slides, bathing, massages, soaking in the hot water, mud baths, that sort of thing. So it would become a health and a recreational use of it. That attracts people. And I know, for example, your Japanese and Chinese visitors would love to come here for that. Yeah.
Well, we do have one place. Shout out to the Polynesian Spa.
Yes.
And have you been there?
Oh, I've been there. Yes.
Oh, so you know what we've got to offer.
Oh yeah, but much more can be. I mean, from my recollection of it, it was somewhat. I hate to use the word primitive, but it could be expanded.
Oh, that's okay. You can use whatever word you like.
No, but it could be expanded much more, and I think if you offer, well, you have a restaurant there, I believe.
There's a bit of a cafe with a few sandwiches and ice creams.
Well, I have a friend who has a resort in Australia, down south of Melbourne, and he's done a wonderful job. Health food. Different soaking pools, steam baths, and I think you could expand.
You're a doctor of this, so you've obviously spent a lot of time studying, and I mean this in the most respectful way. How complex an issue is it? Do we need rocket scientists working on this, or are they common sense things?
No, you need engineers, obviously, to design the systems. But you need just a basic knowledge to understand the benefits and the limitations. And if those two issues are communicated to the public, then they'll hire the engineers to do the details. They don't need to do the details, but they need to be behind it to get city councils to fund projects, to make sure the regulations are in place, but they're not too restrictive. Yeah.
So what would be the ideal Rotorua if you come back in 5 years' time and we've listened to all your advice? What are we going to see?
Far more usage, more greenhouses, more aquaculture. We tried lucerne here, or we called it alfalfa, of course. I want to see this sports park with the slides and the basic foods that are offered that are grown geothermally. Because you grow your tomatoes in the hot houses and you serve them at the spa.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, you're a very innovative man. I think that's the right word. Did I say that right? I'm sure I
It sounded
did.
good to me.
I'm sure I did. And I'm sure that you all got the message there. And thank you so much for spending some time with us this morning, and also for coming out and dedicating part of your life to helping us here in New Zealand.
I enjoy it. I mean, it's fun to be in New Zealand.
That's
No,
right.
and Rotorua. I've been here before. I've always enjoyed it.
Oh, it's the place to be, and it's going to be the spa of the Pacific. Thank you
I
so
hope
much.
so. I hope so.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Pretty happy with the result, Wayne, 43-19?
Yeah, I mean, the result's pretty irrelevant, really. We were looking at getting a bit of a Chiefs mana back from last week. We didn't really do ourselves justice last week. We've got a lot of new guys, as we saw, playing, but expectations are still the same, that they come up to the standards, and tonight was a hell of a lot better. That first 30 minutes was good. We were tough, we were fast, and we put enough points on them to come away with it.
Obviously, losing the first pre-season against the Reds, that's got to be tough for morale of the team. How do you pick that up during the week, building up into this game?
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty experienced with it now. It was a week. They had 13 Wallabies starting last week, and we had a lot of guys from outside the squad that we were trying out. And tonight was more like what we're used to, and something to really build on, I think, for next week. We've got Crusaders down in Christchurch. That's a hell of a big challenge.
Yeah, first game of the season, so yes.
Yeah, that's going to be a big challenge. But if we can take a lot of that energy in and that line speed, then we'll give ourselves a chance.
What was going through your mind when Sam Kane came off?
Oh no.
Nothing serious?
Well, you never know with these things. Hopefully not. I thought the kid that went on, actually, Tavita Kalamatangi, played really well. He's been injured all pre-season. He really only trained this week, and I thought he went really well. So we've all got our fingers crossed for Sammy. We really need him in Christchurch, but if it's not to be, we'll try another chief into the fold and hopefully do the job.
Well, that must be peace of mind for you and the coaching staff to have someone who can back up Sam if he comes off.
Yeah, we've got a lot of depth. As you can see, there's a lot of versatility here. I bet there's a lot of players on the field today that the crowd wouldn't know, but they played at a pretty high level, so it's pleasing. We've still got a long way to go, that's the thing, but it's a start, and we saw some good combinations and some good energy.
Like you said, you've got a long way to go to the end of the season. How much pressure is on you guys to get a three-peat, to get the title for the third time?
Well, pressure's always the same for me. Mine's all internal. I suppose it's the same for everyone else. I put pressure on myself every day, and this team's pretty much like that. We're all about standards and making our people proud of us. It drives us with high personal meaning in this team, and coming here is part of that. To our people out here. The pressure's the same. We're going to give it a good crack, see how it goes.
Now, you mentioned mana and obviously performing for the crowd and for the people back here in Rotorua. How important is that dynamic, that culture, that like I said, the family dynamic within the team, within the Chiefs culture?
Yeah, it's not just within the team. It's your connections outside in the community are what give you resilience, as well as playing for your mates. You play for other people, and if that's hugely meaningful, you'll get up off the deck and you'll make another tackle and you'll throw your body into it for those people. So for us, the wider region, the Chiefs region, is hugely important. We've studied the history of it, we've tried to connect with the people, we get around it, and it's massive for us.
Now, just off topic a little bit, Halbergs were on last night. Did you manage to get to go along?
No, we were flat out. There's a lot of work to do with a team like this other than just on the training track, so we're all looking at computers, and we've got Crusaders next week, Highlanders after that. We're doing all that work, so no, we're just getting the heads down and working hard.
Good stuff. Now, just final question, Wayne. A lot of times when you see the New Zealand teams playing each other, they smash each other and they just go hard, which is what you want to see in New Zealand rugby. But when it comes to playing the South Africans and Australians, we're beating each other up. So do you think that's a factor in the success of, or maybe not the success of New Zealand rugby?
There's plenty of success in New Zealand rugby, so there's a lot going on that's bloody good, isn't it? I mean, a 14-0 season for the All Blacks, Chiefs winning back-to-back titles. Those derbies, they're tough, but they make you tougher. And the key for New Zealand sides is to get through to the playoffs. To get through to the playoffs, you've had a pretty rough road, and normally you're prepared for it. So, and that's been our case the last couple of years.
And it was a great night out at last week's game. Events and Venues manager Peter McLeod says the crowd at the game was the biggest gathering at the stadium since the Rugby World Cup. Maybe we can get more Chiefs games in the future. And if you'd like to see the show again or catch up on City News, visit our website tv.rotorua.co.nz. We hope you have a wonderful weekend. From all the team at City News, Ko Maria.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.
City News was brought to you by East Brewster Lawyers, Rotorua, celebrating 100 years of legal excellence and innovation.